Charles Barkley text with me the other day, and Charles, when I said, hey, look, your show can't be going away, he said, it's very stressful, my friend. It's exactly what the tweet came in. And I'm not going to get into any more than that, but I think we've seen it, and I think Charles has said with inside the NBA going away, you got to remember this. There's a lot of people that work on that show. It's not just Shaq and Ernie and Kenny and Charles. It's the cameramen. It's the producers. It's the production people. It's it's so many people that are involved in that show. And it seems to me that this is a close-knit show. That's how shows get. I've told you before, Mike Tirico, myself, Molly McGrath, Allison Williams, whichever woman was working with us during our 5-year stretch, Scott Johnson, our director, Bart Fox, our producer. We couldn't wait to get to whatever city we were doing a Tuesday night game. We couldn't wait to get there Monday night and have dinner. Have a little wine, maybe a drink or 20, and laugh our off. It was incredibly fun. It was a family. And then we would have dinner occasionally, if everybody got there in time, with the camera guys, the guys in the truck, the graphic guy. It was a party, Monday night party, and I loved it. And that's the only thing really about doing games that I missed. That's what shows become. That's what great shows become, and people will argue that our show was the best ESPN ever had on television for college basketball games because you become a family. You become something bigger than just show up, do a 3-hour show. All right? And that's what Barkley is saying. And I love that about Barkley. Let's listen to Barkley calling his bosses at TNT a bunch of clowns for losing the NBA rights to NBC Universal when he was talking with our friend Dan Patrick.
You know, my two favorite wines are Inglenook and Opus. And these clowns I work for, they've turned us into Ripple and Boone's Farm and Thunderbird. Like, we got the best studio show. And it's so funny, we just won the best studio show, but these fools turned us from Inglenook and Opus into damn Boone's Farm and Ripple. You know, they came out and said we didn't need the NBA. So I think that probably pissed Adam off. I don't know that, but I'm saying, like, you don't, because, you know, when we merged, that's the first thing our boss said, we don't need the NBA. Well, he don't need it, but the rest of the people, me, Kenny, Shaq, and Ernie, and the people who work there, we need it. So it just sucks right now. And, you know, the thing that's interesting, me, Kenny, Ernie talk about it, and Shaq all the time, like, people walk up to me, I'm not even joking, 20 times a day. I'm like, dude, thank you for the kind words, but I have zero idea what's going to happen.
That's awesome. See, that is so good. Zero idea what's going to happen. You get a rundown, and the next thing you know, who the hell knows? Maybe somebody's getting thrown into a Christmas tree. Maybe two guys are racing to the screen, and it all seems very natural. Now, look, I understand there's a business element to it, and the guy making the decision for TNT has to make a business decision. And maybe TNT doesn't like or doesn't need the NBA, but let me ask you a question, just off the top of your head. I guess Braves baseball is still on TNT, but that was always on TBS. What is on TNT? Is the NCAA tournament staying there? I suppose it is, and maybe that's where Barkley and Kenny and Shaq and Ernie do their thing. But let me ask you, just as a viewer, is there any time you said, hey, look, other than inside the NBA, I got to turn on TNT. Turner Network Classics, maybe. Turner Broadcast System, maybe a rerun of Friends is on. Maybe Gunsmoke is on TNT. I don't know. But if TNT doesn't need the NBA, what are they? I'm seriously asking this question. Like, what the hell? Hey, Siri, what's TNT's broadcast schedule for today? I don't know. TNT's broadcast schedule for today, what they got? Dan Blocker in Gunsmoke? What they got? Mannix? All right, here's what they got today. TNT schedule. It just keeps getting worse. Assassin's Creed. 3 o'clock in the morning, NCIS. All right, they started this morning with a show called Charmed. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, both Charmed. Impractical Jokers, Justice League, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman stayed on for a while because Wonder Woman 1984 is on. What? Like, what in the hell is this? All Elite Wrestling Rampage. All right, okay, there you go. That's it. And then you got the NBA later tonight. So, look, I don't know who makes what decisions, and I understand that decisions are made by people that know more about the decision than obviously I do, or Charles does, or Shaq does, or Kenny, or anybody. But damn, a steady dose of Charmed? Hey, anybody seen the latest Wonder Woman 1984? Yeah, it's really good. I'm reading it right here. This TV schedule for TNT. There's the schedule. Hey, anybody want to stay up till midnight and watch It Just Keeps Getting Worse? Expedition from Hell, The Lost Tapes? No? Oh, okay. I didn't know. I thought maybe you did. Anybody want to download the app so we can watch it? What is wrong with people? Look, TNT exists for one reason and one reason only. In our minds, the NBA. I guess two reasons, because college basketball is on it during the NCAA tournament. But damn, when Charles said our bosses said they don't need the NBA, what the hell do they need? It's almost like that's all they need now. Again, TV stations, TV executives, big networks certainly have more than just one show. But this is by far their biggest show. It has to be. I just read you their lineup. Hey, Aaron Spielberg, turn on Wonder Woman 1984. I'll turn it on and we'll text about the episode. Hey, we're going to move Impractical Jokers off of the constant reel that it's on True TV. And we're going to play it instead of Dallas and Minnesota. Instead of Inside the NBA. Yeah, that's a prudent business decision. Can't wait to see it. My goodness. Look, I've always said, I don't have the know-how to get started. I wish I did. I'm dying to have the know-how to get started to get in the business world without having to have any employees. I don't want any employees. But I know this, if I ever figured out how to get in the business world, I'd be smarter than any of these clowns. Man, oh man, oh man. And oh, by the way, speaking of networks, hey, if I'm ESPN, I'm having a sit down with all these crazy ass lesbians that are going at Caitlin Clark and telling them all to shut up. That's what I'm doing. Same thing. Network, take control. Just go ahead and do it. Anyway, good for Charles. Sad for us. We got one more year of the best well, actually, as I told Charles in a further text, it's the only pregame, halftime, postgame show that's interesting, fun, and informative. I mean, what are we going to do? Watch a bunch of old former coaches stand there with their hair sprayed and talk about football or Gronk? Please. Child, please. Bring back Inside the NBA. Move it to OutKick. Let's go. Move it to OutKick. Seriously. Damn. All right. You know, there are certain people that not you, I just want to see go away. Angel Hernandez, the umpire in Major League Baseball, he needs to just go away. Patrick Beverly, Russell Westbrook, the Morris twins in basketball. You know who else is starting to get on that list? Gordon Hayward. I've had enough of Gordon Hayward. Do you even remember who Gordon Hayward is, whatever? Yeah, I'm tired of him. He played on a really good team, made a lot of money in the NBA. Now he's whining. But that doesn't even matter. I'm going to file this guy under people I just kind of want to go away, and that's Jim Harbaugh. Look, I understand Jim Harbaugh's all the rage. I understand he's Mr. Football. I understand we got to talk about his dad who couldn't make it in the MAC, had to jump back to 1AA football at Western Kentucky, won some games against inferior opponents, and is now considered a legend. I get it. Harbaugh's brother also coaches in the NFL. I get all of it. But I've had enough of Harbaugh. The cheating at Michigan eliminated Harbaugh from me because he was a massive cheat. Before you argue with me, understand this. He's the only guy I've ever seen in any sport at any time get suspended 2 times in the same year for cheating. Look, I understand a guy may get suspended for drugs and then get suspended for something else, but this is just straight cheating. And any coach that has a set of these nuts on him will tell you, I don't respect Harbaugh even a little bit. He couldn't beat Ohio State, so he started cheating his off. And then he did. And now he's a hero. But of course, like most cowards, which Harbaugh proved himself to be, he ran away from his problems. He Pete Carrolled it. Now, Michigan has to deal with the ramifications, while Harbaugh goes off into the sunset as a hero. And of course, the inevitable is happening. Books. Everybody's got a book. For years and years and years, people have asked me to write a book about my time at Indiana and in part my whacked out life. And I'm like, yeah, I should. But 2 things. I'm not doing one of those tales from the locker room where everything is happy. And the other thing is, I ain't doing one of these books where I got to expose my friends for the crazy stuff that we did. That's just not my thing. Anyway, apparently trust issues reportedly played a major role in Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan for the Chargers, detailed in a new book coming out soon. It revolved around Ward Manuel, the athletic director, and Harbaugh. Well, before I get into the quotes in this book, let me explain something to you. If you are an adult male with a penis and you have any integrity whatsoever, and you are the athletic director at Michigan, you absolutely should have a trust issue with Jim Harbaugh. He was cheating during COVID. He was cheating in who he hired. He hired rotten individuals. You want me to detail it? Offensive coordinator still under an FBI investigation for hacking into other teams' websites and stealing practice film. A lower-level staffer arrested in Michigan gear for soliciting underage girls. Yeah, that's right. An assistant coach, who is now the head coach, suspended, cheating, illegal practices, illegal recruiting, illegal sign stealing. Don't even get me started. How many DUIs on that staff? Bad people hired by a coward. So, of course, you're the athletic director, Ward Manuel, and if you have any integrity, which I've always felt that Ward does, I know Ward Manuel, then you're going to have a rift with Harbaugh. I don't know what to tell you. So in this book, here we go. During a 2-day getaway with his wife, Sarah, on the Coronado Island off the coast of San Diego, Harbaugh unloaded to longtime friend Todd Anson. He told Anson he wanted to remain at Michigan, but believed Manuel, no matter his public pronouncements, was not the advocate he needed in his corner, particularly in front of the Board of Regents. All right, stop right there. Well, duh. So here's Harbaugh. He's got this figured out. Who's got it better than me? Yay! We're Mr. Positive. Yay! All the while, he's a cheat. I mean, it's that simple. And Ward Manuel, rightfully so, didn't trust him. Guess what? He shouldn't. This is like the preacher that gets up in front of his congregation and talks about goodness and light and Jesus and all the different things. All the while, he's stooping his secretary when his wife's out of town. That's Harbaugh. It's exactly Harbaugh. He's a front man. He's a bullshit front man. And now he's a victim because with all his cheating, remember, the school suspended him and the Big Ten suspended him. Duh. Let's continue. He also raged against Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti, who before the 3-game Big Ten suspension had promised to meet Harbaugh in Ann Arbor and brief him on what the conference was doing. only to stand him up. Now, Petitti, through a spokesman, declined to be interviewed. Well, let's talk about that. So let's see if I understand this. Big meathead football guy at Big Meathead Football U decides he's going to cheat and then cheat again and cheat again and again and again. Hire rotten people. But because he's Big Football Meathead guy at Big Football Meathead U, the commissioner of the Big Ten is supposed to come to Ann Arbor to meet with him. Yo, Harbs, how about you get your big meat head, and you do have the perfect Michigan Notre Dame big block head. I do as well. How about you take your big meat head, and if you're dying for this meeting, if you demand an explanation, if you need to know what the Big Ten's doing, you got private planes, all the little DSBs, I'll let you figure that out, who hang around the Michigan football program and their little rich private planes. They'll fly you to Chi-Town. They'll have a limo take you. Maybe, you can't go to Miggs anymore. That was right downtown the airport. They'll get you to a private airstrip and limo you to see Tony Petitti if, in fact, this is so important to you. Get off your fat, ridiculous, blockheaded ass and go do that. But, of course, that's not how it's supposed to be in blockhead world. Who's got it better than us? Yay! Now you're bitching like a schoolgirl. Anyway, the day after his outburst to Anson, Harbaugh had an initial interview with the Los Angeles Chargers. Afterward, his tone had softened. Leaning toward taking the NFL job if offered, he dialed down the Manuel Reddick. No longer interested in potential legal battle and fighting people he later said were gunning for me. Gunning for you? Nobody guns for you when you win and you don't cheat. Gunning for you, see, victimhood is everywhere. They're gunning for me. Really? Did you cheat? Well, yeah. Did you have to get suspended by the league? Well, yeah, but they're gunning for me. Everybody's doing it. No, I don't think so. No, look, seriously, you got to remember the background on Harbaugh. Harbaugh's background was he was getting his ass beat by Urban Meyer like it was his job, and it was his job. I'll never forget being in a hallway. Here comes Harbaugh. Urban and I are walking out of Indiana's Memorial Stadium, and Harbaugh, after a win over Indiana, looked like he was going to shit himself being in the presence of a guy who kicked his ass up, down, over, and out. Urban reached out his hand. Hey, Coach, Harbaugh, that's the exact quote. Harbaugh's a coward, a cheat, and a chicken shit. Anyway, I digress. People were gunning for me. It suggested in attitude and tone that his days in Ann Arbor were numbered. The most amazing thing about this is how important winning is to Blockhead U. Notre Dame and Michigan are the epitome of Blockhead U. Go into Dillon Hall at Notre Dame. Everybody looks the same. Big white guys, about 6'2 to 6'5", heads this big, all in a block. Go to Michigan. If it isn't an East Coast dude ranting around, little chatty guy, or a foreign student, they like foreign students at Michigan, it's blockhead guy. When I was in high school, I played against Pershing. Really? Yeah, yeah. We used to play against, the city schools. Yeah. Shut up. My son went to Michigan. I told him, beware the blockheads. He's like, Dad, man, you ain't lying. I only speak to what I know. Speaking as a blockhead. I mean, my head's so big, you can show movies on the back of my head if you wanted to, so I understand the blockhead mentality. But Harbaugh is being what Harbaugh is. A whiner, a coward, a liar, and entitled. My dad is the great. Shut up. Your dad punked out like you at Western Michigan, couldn't win a game, ran back to 1AA where he had every advantage because Western Kentucky had the best athletics program in it before his dad got there, and next thing you know, he became a legend. The whole thing is fraudulent. I love Tom Crean. I do. He's been great to the show. But read his tweets one day. Holy hell. I mean, damn. Anyway, screw you, Harbaugh. You're a cheat. And nobody will ever say this. You absolutely made the college coaching profession worse because of your presence. Good for you. Go to the NFL. Perfect. Because right now there's an NFL crime spree. And you can go in there and be a fraud, and you know what? You ain't even in the top 100 in that crazy ass league. Speaking of the NFL, Mike McDaniel is the philosopher because, well, he's unique. White as me, but everybody says he's African American. Okay. So he's the guy. Dresses like a complete clown on the sideline, disrespecting the coaching profession. There's a great picture of Tom Landry and Mike McDaniel. Here's one dressed like an adult male with a penis. Here's one dressed like he's getting ready to go to the Gay Pride March coming up in June. And there's a picture of both. And it says, this is a microcosm of how our society has declined. So I don't really like Mike McDaniel. I think he's full of shit. I get it. He's the cool kid. He's like Mina Kimes on ESPN or J.J. Redick on ESPN. They got all the millennial talk, but what do you really get out of them? Nada. Anyway, Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel, I'm on one today. Mike McDaniel shares some pretty resounding advice for NFL players following the controversy of Harrison Butker's commencement address at Benedictine College. Now, with all due respect to the great legendary coach Mike McDaniel, I don't need advice from him. I don't need advice at all. At all. I guess here's Mike McDaniel.
Harrison Butker made some comments recently that have drawn a lot of attention, and I'm wondering, do you, when it comes to political stances, do you encourage your players to talk about that stuff amongst themselves, or do you tell them leave that stuff out of the building? How do you handle the politics of general in the locker room?
Well, I'm glad you asked. No, I think you can just you do have to open the eyes of the players to their platform if they're new to the situation. I think you have to understand that what you say publicly can be fragmented and last with you forever. So you just I really emphasize to. If you're going to say whatever you're going to say, you better believe it. And you just try to educate people to understand the consequences of whatever they do, just so they have the freedom of choice. And if they want to go that direction, go right ahead. I'll be over here hanging out with you guys.
Okay. I mean, where's leadership in this country? I guess that's it. Because every guy likes it. Like, look, how douchebaggy was the question? I couldn't even hear the question. But a long-winded question from a douchebag writer. Yeah, I don't know. Of course, Mike Florio has to bump in here because, well, Mike Florio, if there's douchebaggery to be had, Mike Florio must be in the middle of it. Here's what the legendary, starter of a website had to say. The Chiefs are treating the Butker issue as no big deal because they don't want Butker to be a big deal when football season rolls around. They want the situation to be forgotten. They want Butker to not be burdened by the blowback or the blowback to the blowback. If, for whatever reason, Butker suddenly can't kick like he has in 7 seasons, he won't be the Chiefs kicker for long. Well, no shit. Tell Noah about the flood. If Patrick Mahomes can't throw the ball because he's too fat, like Patrick Mahomes can throw the ball, he won't be the Chiefs quarterback for long. Look, I'll be honest with you. I'll give you my response to it. The Chiefs are treating Butker. Let me go back to exactly what Florio says. The Chiefs are treating the Butker issue as no big deal because they don't believe Butker's issue is a big deal. Of course it's not a big deal. I mean, look, the level of stupid that has responded to Harrison Butker is fascinating. And if I'm Harrison Butker, I am laughing my ass off. I'm sitting there going, you got to be kidding me. All you idiots are this worked up. Hey, oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw, but P. Diddy just beat the hell out of his girlfriend and had more charges filed against him. And I don't know if you saw, but Rashid Rice, oh, by the way, just got another, I don't know, whatever you call it, incident in a nightclub. I don't hear anybody talking about that. But hey, a Catholic man espousing Catholic values to a Catholic university and its Catholic graduates, oh my God. We must be on the high alert. We must be on the lookout. This is bad. I would sit there and laugh. There are certain things that when they come at you, you go, yeah, I probably screwed that up, but not this. This, you just laugh. And if you are the Kansas City Chiefs and you understand that 98.99999% of the people, not 99.9, I will give 1.1%, 1.00001% of the population being upset about it, you just laugh. Butker's jersey is the number one selling jersey. Butker's jersey among women has sold out. We know. You think Mike Florio speaks for anybody? Mike Florio, good for him. He's made a nice little thing. He's on TV. He gets to act all important. We don't speak for nobody. The Kansas City Chiefs understand this is no big deal. Hey, look, they got a guy facing 6 to 8 felonies, a wide receiver, in a short wide receiver room, a guy who's a potential star, Rashid Rice. He's also facing another possible charge in connection with a fight a week or two later. That's a problem. That's a legit problem. What are we going to do with Rashid Rice? They also are facing 2 big fat linemen who apparently decided, well, we're going to buy, distribute, smoke weed in a state where it is illegal. So they got arrested. That's a problem. That's a big problem. A Catholic guy espousing Catholic views at a Catholic school during a Catholic graduation ain't no problem. Ain't no problem. No. So I get it. I understand it. Everybody, including Florio, wants to make this a bigger deal, but this ain't no problem. As my father used to say, if that's the biggest problem you got, you ain't got no problems. Former NFL player Antonio Brown is known for saying virtually anything. He's become one of the most popular people on Twitter. His account, and I'm not going to say the word of the day, but you know what I'm talking about here. His account, he's known for saying anything, is an outspoken Super Bowl champ. He sat down with OutKick's alpha male, Nick Adams, asking Brown about the origins of his perceptive affinity for President Donald Trump. I like Antonio Brown on Twitter. Let's hear from Antonio Brown in person.
Yes.
What is it about President Trump that appeals to you the most? Is it his love of winning? Is it his massive success? Is it his athletic prowess? What turns you on so much about Donald Trump?
I mean, Donald Trump don't turn me on. I'm a man, but
you know what I mean.
I never met him. I got admiration for, his business moves. And I study his dad, Fred Trump, and his family. But I think Donald Trump is a good businessman and come from a good family. And has been a good president thus far. I mean, hopefully he put the send me $200,000 to come for the inauguration and give him the PR talk. He like black people running campaigns, preferably football players. So Donald Trump, you heard it right here from the mouth of AB, man. Inauguration, send me my bag or whatever.
Hey, well, listen, that kind of goes into what I wanted to ask you about. Who are you voting for in November? Trump or Biden?
I feel like you got to go to Trump. Yeah, you got to go the Trump way.
Now, what do you think of Biden's performance as president?
I mean, it's been kind of like the Cleveland Browns. You want to take them to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
I hear. So
they never been.
Are we breaking some news here, AB? You're endorsing President Trump?
Yeah, I'll endorse Trump.
You're the man. You're the man. I like it. Well, listen. Tell me, what does President Trump need to do to continue to earn the support of the black community? Because as you and I know, he was really the first black president we've ever had. Many people call him that. Why has he become so popular amongst the black community?
I mean, I think he did some great things. I'm hoping he could get out Young Thug, but he freed a lot of artists and people coming from poverty who changed their lives and may have been in an unfortunate situation. You know, some of the artist guys that he done some cool things for. I mean, that's all I know as far as the political side, but I feel like...
Did the mugshot help?
What's your mugshot?
Trump's mugshot.
I mean, Trump's a presidential guy, so I don't really think his mugshot or anything of that nature was really reality. But I think he done some great things for a lot of my brothers in the music industry in regards to Lil Wayne, Kodak.
Yeah.
We hoping he could do some of those things for Young Thug. So, Trump, man, if you're watching this, we need to free Young Thug if you can help out with that.
AB, I want to turn now to your background.
Yeah, you know what? Good for AB and good for Nick Adams. You only see that kind of stuff on OutKick. Here's the deal. Yesterday, there was a huge rally in the Bronx. And even CNN, speaking of the black vote, even CNN said certainly a bigger crowd than I think Democrats would like to see, particularly given this is one of the bluest counties in the entire country. No Republican candidate has campaigned in New York City or the Bronx in like forever. But all of a sudden, a massive crowd shows up for Donald Trump. And I think people are starting to figure it out. And not just black people, white people, everybody. Starting to figure out, wait a second here. Hold the phone. We got a president that can't put two sentences together. We got a president that doesn't know where the hell he is. We got a president that talks the nonsense that panders. Or we can have a president like Trump who actually kind of, sort of, seems like all of us, even though he's a bazillionaire. He walks around. He talks like we talk, black or white. He just says what we're doing. Here's how we're going to do it. I don't know. I know back in the 70s and 80s, he talked vulgar. And I know there was, mean tweets. But whether it's Antonio Brown or Fred Brown or Jimmy Brown or Gary Brown, it don't matter. We're all seeing what's happening. Hey, thanks for being here. If you're an OutKick fan, you know we give it to you straight. Here on Don't At Me, we have a ton of fun. More content right here. And while you're at it, sack the hell up and be sure to hit that subscribe button now.